Plates ready? This is Food School, Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Want to feel amazing? Love the way you look in the mirror and perform your absolute best in the gym, at work, and in life? You're definitely in the right place. Food. It's you. It builds every single cell of you. And if there is one thing every human being must master, it's food. Because at the very least, eating, you do it every day, several times a day, every single day. You might as well get good at it. I'm your host, Shurina from Create Yourself That Today, your personal nutritionist and plate watcher, your diet guide and explorer, your fat loss coach and food inspector. And just someone with a lot of passion and obsession and curiosity for healthy food, healthy diets, nutrition, optimized human performance, everything and absolutely anything you put in your grocery shopping cart, your fridge, on your plate, and in your mouth. It's my business. Food School, on a mission to help you eat better daily.
It's the last time I talk about food. It's the last time I talk about food.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. It's Monday, guys, and it's time to start that new habit, that new lifestyle habit that you wanted to start. Maybe eating more vegetables, maybe eating more protein, maybe eating more whole foods compared to processed foods, maybe starting to track your sugar, whatever that is. Monday, it's a great time to start. And hey guys, when it comes to starting new habits, what I found and what I've learned through, trial and errors in my own life experience. So no matter what field, what area of my life I'm working on, what I found very useful to make progress and to actually reach the goals that I set for myself, 3 things. First, simplify and delete, meaning in order for you to reach your goals, it's got to be simple and easy for your brain to comprehend. It's hard enough to make the changes, but if on top of that, they're super complicated to understand and comprehend, you might do them, for a couple of days, just being pumped by your new goals and this sheer enthusiasm. But then after a couple of days, complicated things fall off. They just what they do. So you gotta simplify and delete, focusing only on the most essential, most important goals and rituals and habits. So this is number 1 step to really start reaching your goals, not just setting your goals. So simplify and delete. It's better to reach few but more important goals than nothing at all, don't you think? So number 2, again, from my personal experience, what gets measured gets done. So in order for you to reach your goal, you gotta understand where you are right now, you gotta measure it, and you gotta track your progress. So what does it mean for you to make progress in that goal? Whether that fat loss, whether that making more money, whether that improving any of your skill, I don't know, public speaking, for example, the one that I'm working on. So what is it? How can you track it? How can you measure it? When it comes to body fat, in order to reduce your body fat, measure it. So it's not just your opinion, it's an actual accurate number. When it comes to public speaking, like how many gigs did you do? How many people were there to listen to you? What kind of feedback you got? Put a number on every single aspect of your skill. The more numbers you have, the better you can track it, the more progress and results and steps forward you're gonna make, and the faster you're gonna reach your goals. So number 2, measure it and track the progress. That is it's essential for reaching your goals and making progress, guys. And then the third one, schedule it. So many times in my life, I would have all these audacious goals. I would put them in my journal. I would write them down. I would have them on my wall. But then I would never schedule anything to actually start reaching those goals. And as you can imagine, something will come up that will distract me from approaching these big and audacious goals. Big and audacious goals, they gotta start with daily actions. And unless you schedule those daily actions with all the distractions these days, guys, you never get anything done. I never got anything done. So for me now, I have fewer goals that I can put on a small piece of paper that I can put in my wallet and carry with me everywhere. So I'm super focused, and before saying yes to something, I look at my goal list and see if that thing will move me forward, will move me towards my goals or not. So stay focused, schedule things according to your goal list, and that's how you make progress towards your goals. Again, I would usually have all these amazing goals but would never schedule anything, and something would come up and make me do something else, will keep me distracted, something easier and something that was right there, because what is right there seems to be important and urgent to our brain. That is not necessarily true or objective reality, but that's what your brain thinks. What you look at, that's the most important thing for you right now. So you gotta schedule action steps that you think will lead towards that goal. And if you measure and track results, you will know whether that step led you closer to your goal or not, and then you can adjust your behavior. But these three you need to implement to reach your goal. Any goal, guys, any goal. That's just how it works. So again, number 1, simplify and delete the unnecessary. Number 2, put a number on every single goal and start measuring it, start tracking it. That's the only way to move forward. And then number 3, schedule it. Put action steps on your schedule and keep them there. And then track the results, measure, and adjust your action steps accordingly. So that's when it comes to goals and Monday motivation. Now, I want to share with you an important study that just came out of NIH, or National Institute of Health, in US, and the study was about processed and unprocessed foods and how processed foods make you gain weight and why. So the study was designed like that. They had 20 people, around 30 years old, 10 men, 10 women, and they would put those people for 2 weeks. First, one group would be on processed food diet, the other group would be on whole foods diet, and then they would switch the groups, and for another 2 weeks each group would have a different diet. So if somebody was on a whole food diet, they would be on a processed food diet, and if somebody was on processed food diet, they would be on whole food diet. And when we talk about processed foods and whole foods in this study, processed foods were not junk foods like, let's say, potato chips or French fries. No, processed foods were foods like, for example, breakfast. Let's take breakfast. Bagel and cream cheese. That was processed food breakfast compared to whole food breakfast like vegetables and eggs, or vegetables and some lean meat, or not necessarily lean, but whole food chicken maybe. And for carbohydrates, orange juice, a glass of orange juice compared to an actual orange. So that was the difference between processed foods and whole foods, and that's my definition also for processed foods and whole foods. And so they put those people on processed foods and whole food diets for 2 weeks. They allowed them to eat as much as they wanted to eat. So no restriction was there was no restriction for both groups. They could eat as much as they wanted, and so they did. And the conclusion of the study: people on processed food diets in those 2 weeks would gain approximately 1 kilogram of fat, or 1 pound per week approximately. And people on whole food diets would lose a pound of fat per week, or 1 kilogram of fat per 2 weeks. And another thing is people on processed food diet, they would naturally I mean like following their hunger, they would eat 500 calories on average per day, more than people on whole food diets. Again, both groups were allowed to eat as much as they wanted. It's just people on processed food diets would eat more just because they wanted to eat more. They were not satisfied with their meals. And so my conclusion, guys, there were, a few theories of why that happens exactly. And some of the theories, and this is also my thinking, my analysis of all the research and all my experience, my personal, professional experience. So this overeating happens for a few reasons. What I believe the most important reason is that when you are on a processed food diet, foods are refined and a lot of nutrients that you would get from whole foods are removed. So all these vitamins and minerals that you would get from whole foods, they are either completely removed or the amount is diminished many times, because the more you process foods, even when you, let's say, make olive oil from olives, even that kind of refinement of seemingly healthy food will still remove some of the vitamins, some of the minerals, phytochemicals, and it's not going to be the same. Olive oil is not the same as olives, plus fiber in olives, plus God knows what else that we are not aware of. So you remove a lot of nutrition when you process foods. The more you process foods, the less nutrition there is. And so you start eating more because your body gets less nutrients. And when you get less nutrients, when your body doesn't get vitamins and minerals and essential fatty acids like omega-3 fatty acids, for example, your body starts to crave more food, because yes, you got enough calories, but you didn't get the micronutrients that are also essential for life. And so your body craves more food, you start eating more, and at the same time your body starts putting more fat into storage. Why is that? Because malnutrition or not getting enough vitamins and minerals means for your body that there is not enough good quality food, that there is not enough nutrition, and so I'd better put more fuel, at least fuel, on my body in reserve in case there is going to be even less food, or we're still not going to be getting what we need, and that's why I'm going to store fat just in case. So those things happen when you eat processed food diet. And again, the more foods processed, even when you make oil out of let's say avocados, you get less nutrients, and those nutrients are lost faster, because anytime you process food, even cooking reduces the amount of nutrients you get in the foods. And so, yeah, you get less nutrients, you want to eat more, you eat more, and you put more fat into storage as a result of overeating, as a result of increased hunger. And that's how you gain pounds and pounds of weight without really noticing it and thinking that something is wrong with your hunger, that your body wants you to eat more and you put on more fat. But that's just because you eat the wrong kind of foods, processed foods. And then also, of course, processed food usually are more palatable, meaning they make you crave more of those foods on a brain level, on biochemical level. They're more addictive. The more processed foods are, usually the more addictive they are, and the more you want to eat them. Also, processed foods are easier to eat, and so your gut doesn't have enough time when you eat too fast. And processed foods you usually eat faster just because they're easier to chew. So your gut doesn't have time to send the signal to release the hormone necessary for your brain to understand that you had enough of food and nutrition and you need to stop eating. That's why also you're gonna eat more on processed food diet, and that's why also, for example, coconut oil you can consume thousands of calories in a a minute. But if you were to choose eating whole coconuts, you would not do that. There is too much fiber. And if you tried eating whole coconut flesh, it's fucking hard and slowly to chew it. Like, whenever I eat whole coconuts, like my jaw gets tired, and that's why I stop eating them. And it's protective mechanism from your own self. That's how you don't overeat, because it's hard to chew even. And then your brain has enough time to send your brain a signal via hormones that you had enough food and you probably should stop eating. So that's another mechanism how eating processed foods make you eat more, and at the end of the day, how you gain more fat. And yes, people who say, oh, it's all about calories. Of course, you eat more and you put on more fat. Well, it is kind of true on paper, but why do you eat more by default? Why are you hungry more when eating processed food diet? It's great in theory to say it's all about calories, just limit your calories and don't eat. But who can actually do that? That's why we see that obesity epidemic, because nobody can do it. Like, you can do it for a few days. Yeah, I'm sure you can. But then for your whole life, of course not. You're going to give in to your natural hunger. And if you don't eat foods that promote healthy natural hunger, then you're gonna get obese, because you're always gonna be wanting more food and always will be overeating. That's why eating processed foods, even foods like whole wheat or whole grain bagel or some organic cream cheese, it's not a good thing. It's still processed food. So what do you eat? Whole fish, eggs, meat, organ meats, a lot of vegetables, different fruits, nuts and seeds, foods that is whole and cooked in a healthy way, minimally processed. And by processed, I mean cooking, nothing else. So that's the diet that will promote naturally healthy hunger and will keep you lean without you counting anything. And that's the lesson for today. That's another thing, guys, an experiment. I get a lot of questions from keto people, low carb, high fat people, because I'm on this diet, on this lifestyle, because it works the best for me and I love it. Anyway, people ask me, how do I, I lost this weight, but I still have a few pounds of weight to lose, and I don't seem to be losing them. Like, what do I do? And very often the answer is really simple. There are two things you do. Stop snacking. Any sorts of calories is considered to be a snack, even fatty coffee, even a tablespoon of coconut oil. So have 2-3 meals and be done with that. The rest of the time, there are no calories. You can drink water, tea, unsweetened coffee. And so stop snacking. And number 2, remove all the processed foods, all the coconuts, all the coconut butters, all the fat bombs, all the processed foods, all the keto cookies. Eat whole foods only for a week. Just change these 2 behaviors. Start eating only whole foods, no oils, no butters, none of that. It's processed foods, non-packaged foods, and stop snacking. 2-3 meals a day and be done with that. So do that, and I promise you guys, you're gonna see the difference in your fat and weight loss. And that's about it for today's, guys. So to conclude, to reach your goals, do 3 things: simplify, delete, measure and track, and schedule action steps. Check out this NIH study that's going to be linked in the show notes about processed and whole foods, and start finally eating whole foods, guys. That's what's going to make you lean and will keep you lean for years. And for people on keto, low carb, but on any diet actually, if you hit weight loss, fat loss plateau, do these 2 things. Stop snacking in between meals, 2-3 meals a day, that's it. And number 2, stop all the processed foods, even healthy, quote unquote, processed foods like oils and butters of the best quality, or keto cookies or whatever that is. So a lot of actionable items. Do them. They're simple, they're essential, and they will help you to move forward towards your goals. Thank you for tuning in, guys. It's Monday, I'm full of energy, and I want to give you a lot of this energy that I have inside. So I'm trying to transmit it through my voice here. So have an amazing week, set audacious goals, schedule them, reach those goals, and as usual, till next time, eat better daily.